Good morning. February 13, 2023 was indeed a tragic day at Michigan State University. The violence that struck that evening took the lives of 3 students and critically injured 5 others. The MSU community responded Spartan strong to support and uplift one another. As we approach the 1-year anniversary, we'll talk to Dr. Alexis Travis, MSU Assistant Provost and Executive Director of the University Health and Wellbeing Division. She'll update us on the Spartan Strong Fund and how she has brought together several departments focused on supporting faculty, staff, and student health. And later on our Sunday morning program, we'll find out from Claudette Robinson, the First Lady of Motown, why she encourages people to visit that special museum, especially in February. It's Sunday, February the 11th. I'm Chuck Stokes, and this is Spotlight. And welcome to Spotlight. Dr. Alexis Travis with Michigan State University, my guest today. Doctor, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you, Chuck. Thanks for having me on the show.
It is certainly our pleasure. We are just 2 days away from the official 1-year anniversary of the tragedy there at Michigan State University. We know that young people, just by their sheer nature, are resilient. If you had to say what the mood of the campus is today, from your point of view, what would you say?
Yeah, healing and recovery looks different for each person. We know that everybody on campus is going through their individual experiences, and so it looks different depending on where people are in that recovery journey. Some people are, still experiencing a lot of grief, a lot of loss, some trauma triggers, while other people are really kind of, have moved on a little bit and are, engaging in all of the aspects of Spartan life. And so we're meeting people where we're at and providing an array of opportunities for people to engage in ways that feel meaningful and valuable to them.
Absolutely, and the important thing is that so much has been done in the last year, and people are making sure that they are addressing this. And that ties very much into what you do almost on a daily basis as one of the leaders there on that very respected campus. And they started the Spartan Strong Fund, and that was a quick reaction to that tragedy, but a lot has happened with that fund since then. Fill us in for the person that may not have been keeping up on a daily basis. What exactly is the Spartan Strong Fund?
Yeah, the Spartan Strong Fund was announced on January 25th. And what it does is it provides a way for people to be reimbursed for the cost, out-of-pocket costs that they have incurred due to mental health treatment that they have received. And so we're thinking co-pays, deductibles, co-insurance that people have paid for treatment that they received either in the inpatient or outpatient setting, including hospitalization for mental health related diagnoses, and then telehealth as well. And this is for people including students, faculty, staff, and first responders, including those 911 dispatchers and telecommunicators who responded after February 13th who have received mental health treatment.
Sure. Doctor, give us a sense of the type of people, organizations, maybe companies that have donated to this fund, not in terms of the actual specifics, but just kind of an overview, because that is a campus with a long, rich history that has touched just, thousands and thousands of people. And I imagine that when they saw this, people said, I want to help in some kind of way, and this is certainly a way in which they could do that.
You're exactly right, Chuck. So after February 13th, there was an outpouring of support from our Spartan nation, Spartans near and far, who really wanted to support and be able to, provide assistance to our campus as we look to recover. And so what people did, 4,200 Spartans and our friends and neighbors came together and they donated money to the university in the amount of $2 million. And of that $2 million, $500,000 was set aside for this reimbursement fund, so the Spartan Strong Fund that we're talking about today. The rest of the money was a committee came together, including students, faculty, and staff, to really assess and see where those funds would be best dedicated. So, funding was provided and support was provided to those immediately impacted so that students could continue their academic careers here at Michigan State, those injured, the families of the deceased. We also were able to provide some Spartan resiliency training and support to the community, as well as some immediate physical support, which was provided from a different fund, which would support our Spartans. And so over the course of the last year, there has been many different ways that we've been able to support those impacted and affected by the tragedy on February 13th.
Sure. Give us a sense, too, because you mentioned the $500,000 and what that's for of that $2 million some odd dollars that has been donated and raised. How does the rest of it sort of break down into the different categories?
Yeah, so at least 1 million went to support those most impacted. So people who were injured, those who were present on site. There was 50 individuals who were present in Berkey Hall and in the Union where the tragedies occurred, and so those students were immediately supported. And then for the rest of the campus, there's been many different ways that we've been able to provide counseling and other supports. And so we're able to dedicate some funding to that as well in terms of building Spartan resiliency, more of a community base. These are the skills that you can use when you're feeling overwhelmed, when you're feeling, some of those emotions bubbling up. And so really many different ways that we've been able to use those funds.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to take a quick little pause for a cause. We'll come right back. And I want to talk specifically about if someone wants to access the wonderful services that have been provided there at Michigan State University. What's sort of a step-by-step process in terms of how they can do that and make sure that they're availing themselves of that. And then we'll also talk about this University Health and Wellbeing, which has a bigger reach on the university campus. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Doctor, specifically, what kind of mental health services are available at the clinic there?
Yeah, so on MSU campus, we have the Counseling and Psychiatric Services CAPS facility, which is at the Olin Health Center. And there we have an array of services. We have 24/7, 365 support for our Spartans. And what that looks like is we have a crisis line, which students can call anytime, night and day, and they can get access to those support services if they're experiencing crisis. And that number is 517-355-8270, and they just press 1. And we also have in-person services, so folks can make an appointment. They can also just walk in if they're not feeling themselves. Sometimes people don't know exactly what is wrong, so in those instances, we have the CAPS Connect services. And those are shorter 30 minutes appointments that people can just book and really just get a consultation, understand, I'm feeling a certain way, I'm concerned about it, and engage with a provider who can connect with them. We know that our Spartan community is extremely diverse, and so we have different group opportunities where people can come together in community, both for group support and then for group therapy. And there are different identity groups that people can select around that. We have psychiatric services. We also have psychiatric hospitalization support during the hospital stay and then after the hospital stay. And so we really just try to meet our Spartans where they're at regardless of what they're experiencing. There's a lot of information on our UHW website, our University Health and Wellbeing website, and our CAPS website. But the best way for our students really to understand and to connect with the resources would be to schedule an appointment. That way they can have that consultation and to understand what exactly is going on. We do try to be as flexible as possible, and we have also online access as well. If somebody doesn't feel that they want to come in, they can do a telehealth appointment as well, and so that is available to all of our MSU students. And as you mentioned, Chuck, our services are confidential. They're free. Our counseling services are free. And then on the psychiatry side, we have 3 subsidized visits where students can receive those 3 lifetime visits during their time here at MSU. So there's a variety of ways that we can connect with people as well. And I also want to just mention that we also have students who may be struggling with alcohol and other drugs. We have alcohol and other drug support. We have a very strong collegiate recovery community. And so all of those services are available as well. If somebody is trying to abstain from drugs and alcohol, we definitely have support around that as well.
Sure. If people were physically impacted by what happened a year ago, does this fund cover their services, or is that done through somewhere else?
Yeah. So this particular fund does not cover physical injury. That was covered elsewhere. We do have the Support Our Spartans Support Our Spartans funds, which were disseminated immediately after February 13th to help people with more of those physical needs. This particular funding, however, is focused on mental health and covering inpatient and outpatient mental health that was sought after February 13th.
You started the University Health and Wellbeing Department. Tell us a little bit about that. What other services are available on just an everyday basis, and what does that cover that's not, I guess, sort of separate from the Spartan Strong Fund?
Yeah, and in the University Health and Wellbeing, we have 4 pillars. We have the mental health and trauma support services. So some of the things that I've talked to you about today in the counseling and psychiatric services. We also have the Center for Survivors, which is supporting people who've experienced relationship violence and sexual misconduct. We have Safe Place Shelter, which is for people who have experienced relationship violence and harassment. And then we have our Employee Assistance Program, which is free and confidential and available to all current employees at MSU. We have our Campus Health Services, which is the home for our on-campus clinical center, Olin Health Center. We have primary care, gynecology, allergy, immunology. We also have an occupational health clinic and a travel clinic, which serves our MSU campus, but also the broader East Lansing community and folks who come from further afield to check in before travel abroad, for example. And then we have health promotion and engagement. And that team is really focused on the entire campus, messaging about healthy behaviors, ways to reduce risk, and just keeping yourself healthy. We also have fitness coaching through that area, and we have the Work-Life Office, which works with supervisors and employees to make sure that they have the best work-life harmony that we can possibly provide here at MSU. And so we have the Resource Center for Persons with Disability. We have more and more Spartans every year choosing MSU who are living with a disability. And so we pride ourselves on really meeting people where they're at and making sure that people can optimize their full ability here at MSU. And so that's the array of services that we provide, supporting physical, mental, and social health and well-being.
Great, so a lot available. Doctor, we're going to take one more quick little break. We'll come right back with just a couple final questions, and then we'll get you back on your schedule, if that's okay.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much. We'll be right back. Dr. Travis, you have a rich background in public health. For our audience here, so they get a feel for who you are and where you come from, tell us a little bit about it, because I know you were with the state of Michigan in the public health department before coming down the road, I should say, to Michigan State University.
Yeah, so I've been really fortunate to be able to serve many different communities in my public health career. I've worked in local public health in Massachusetts, supporting a large city, and then came to Michigan about 6 years ago, where I served as most recently state health officer and senior deputy director for the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. My background is in community health, and so one thing that I really appreciate is being able to partner with communities and to really listen, to understand what they're experiencing, and then to create solutions to those problems together. And it's the same here on MSU campus. We're a large community, and we're working together to really identify what the needs are and to make solutions together to make sure that Spartans can feel their best and thrive and flourish here at MSU. And personally, being a public health professional, I know that a healthy community starts with each of us individually. So for me, it's, taking care of my personal health and well-being, and then supporting the health and well-being of my colleagues, my neighbors, my friends, and it kind of builds out from there. And so we are definitely building partnerships, collaborating, and are just really grateful for all of the support that we've received in establishing the services for our Spartans.
Has it been a big difference in a leadership role with the state, which covers everything from the UP on down, to a campus, a big campus like Michigan State University?
Yeah, well, I like to say when I was at the state, I was still caring for the MSU community. Obviously, the size of the communities are different, but the fundamentals of looking after each person and also making sure that we are achieving health equity by addressing the needs of the most marginalized individuals and bringing that into the center so that we can achieve the best health for all are ultimately the same. But yeah, thank you for the question.
We sit here in Black History Month, and you said during Black History Month, we celebrate the generations of Black alumni, students, faculty, staff that have strengthened our community, broken down barriers, enhanced health, well-being for all. Want to elaborate a little bit about that and why that is so important as we sit in this very historic month?
Yeah, it is so important to acknowledge the achievements and the contributions of those who've gone before us, our Spartan greats, our Black Spartan greats who have gone ahead of us and made it possible for the work that we're all doing here today. From a health and well-being perspective, I am especially grateful to be the inaugural director for University Health and Well-being. And I know that this perspective that we're bringing is really about health equity and making sure that those who have historically been marginalized and continue to be marginalized are included in the dialogue, and that we are elevating the Spartan voice so that the work that we're doing really meets the needs of all Spartans. So I think what you're going to see at MSU is just a really robust approach to health and well-being, and that definitely is something that has been made possible by those who have gone before us.
Dr. Travis, thank you so much for joining us there from East Lansing on the campus of Michigan State University, and good luck as we approach this anniversary and beyond. And coming up, we'll stick with that Black History Month theme, and we'll talk to the First Lady of Motown from Los Angeles about why it's important to visit that particular museum in the month of February and beyond. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. Recently, we talked via Zoom from Los Angeles to former Miracle singer and the First Lady of Motown, Claudette Robinson, about her love for the Detroit Lions. But you'll soon hear how she has another Detroit passion and a public tribute to the musical fame she helped to establish here. And what better time to talk about it than Black History Month? Why would it be important for people when they come to Detroit, especially if it's their first time to our city, to pay a visit to the Motown Museum?
Well, I think Motown, number one, the museum represents all the things that have happened from the beginning. Motown, of course, began in 1959, January 12th. And at this time, there is an exhibit there on Claudette Robinson, her story as the First Lady of Motown. So I think that that would be a great thing for them to see. And I'd be extremely honored that they went to see the exhibit and then let me know, what do they think?
Well, absolutely. You were one of the original members of the Miracles. You joined them in 1957, I believe, and were with the Miracles for 15 years. So you have great history. And of course, Berry Gordy gave you the name the First Lady of Motown because you were the first female singer there at Motown before Diana Ross and the rest of them came rolling through. So that title was given to you and you've worn it with grace since then. And we appreciate everything that you have done for Detroit and for the Motown Museum and for this great musical history of this city. And one last question, which I didn't know till I started reading things. The great song My Girl was actually written by Smokey Robinson for you and was supposed to have been for the Miracles, but the Temptations ended up with it. The true story?
Well, the story is that I was an inspiration. I don't know if it was especially written for me, but I was a big inspiration for the song My Girl, because at that time I was his girl. So as a result of that, but I think that Smokey felt that the voice that would carry that song would be David Ruffin because of the sound that he was desiring at that time. So it's an absolutely amazing song, and they all, the Temptations, of course, and Smokey's writing came together, and it was phenomenal because it's a song that's gone all over the world, and I am honored to be even an inspiration for the song.
Always great talking to a Motown legend. My thanks to Dr. Alexis Travis at MSU and Claudette Robinson in Los Angeles. Check out her exhibit at the Motown Museum. I'm Chuck Stokes. We'll be back next week with more newsmakers in the spotlight. We hope you have a great week.